I think one of the most difficult things that to adapt to as a type 1 diabetic, especially as a child, is being told that you have to inject yourself all your entire life. Like you live, you eat everything you want to eat, and all of a sudden they tell you that no, you have to be injecting yourself your entire life till you die. I think like that sounds crazy. But you see me, my own problem on being diagnosed as a diabetic when I was a child was the fact that I was not going to be able to eat things that I love to eat, especially Gary. Like Gary with the floating berries and the sweetener, and the Milo.
Stop it. Get some help.
Like I love those things so much. That was my best combination when I was a child. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Fere Akuna, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys one crazy story. Like as a child that was newly diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, I think it was 1 year after I was diagnosed with diabetes and everything, I almost got into trouble because I was doing things that was going to lead me to an early grave. And so if you're new to this channel, please make sure to subscribe, click on the notification bell, and hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video at the end. So let's get into the video. So, for those who are new here, so I am actually a type 1 diabetic. I've been diabetic since I was 7, going to 8 years old. That's about 15 years ago. This year will basically make it like, I think October or November this year will make it the 16th year, the 16 years that I've been diabetic. So basically, when I was diagnosed in the year 2008 as a type 1 diabetic, at first I thought it was my fault because each and everybody that will come to me will tell me, oh, did you eat too much sugar as a child? And funny enough, nobody in my family is diabetic. I'm the only one. Like in my immediate family, nobody is diabetic. My grandparents, my direct aunties, uncles, no one is diabetic. So everybody was most surprised with the fact that I was diagnosed with diabetes. Like when I was having the signs and symptoms, nobody suspected it was going to be diabetes, but it was there. And then I was taken to the hospital. I was admitted in the hospital for the first time that I could ever recall. And that day, it was my dad that put the cannula into my hands, like set up the IV fluid, the drip, and all those stuff. And I cried. I basically cried and cried and cried. But then I didn't even know what was waiting for me. I didn't even know, like, that was just the beginning. Throughout that day, I did not eat anything, trying to bring my sugar level down. And the funny thing was, I didn't even understand what was happening. And then some days after, I now told me that you have to learn how to inject yourself, or the nurse was teaching me how to inject myself. Funny enough, like it was strange to me, but that didn't still click in my mind. Like I was going to inject myself for my entire life. It did not still click. It was when they completely changed my diet and I started going for diabetic classes, because the hospital where I was taking treatment, they usually do diabetic classes regularly. So each time you're going to see the specialist, the endocrinologist, you do classes and they will advise us on what to eat, what not to eat, and you get the chance to also visit the dietitian and all that. So so that was like a difficult thing for me. As a child, I loved Gary. Like when I want to eat Gary, like I could basically eat Gary in the morning, afternoon, and night. And when I want to eat Gary, I have my granules with me. Like my dad didn't need to buy a bottle of granules, so I used to be the one. My dad would be shouting, "Don't finish his granules, finish his granules." It was me, Perry, that finished the granules. I'll pack the granules into my Gary. I'll put milk, I'll put Milo, I'll put sugar, plenty sugar. God, I basically learned that from one of my brothers. That I put plenty sugar and I will eat it, and it used to be very sweet. So I loved Gary so much. I could not do without Gary. You see, there may not be any food in the house, but you see, Gary must always be available. So all of a sudden now I said I will not eat Gary again. I'll start eating semo, a lot of vegetables. Like vegetable soup wasn't really a basic, like a consistent thing in my house. Egusi soup, banga soup, as an Ijaw girl that I am, banga soup, pepper soup. Those are the main food in my house. So that's how they now started doing classes for me. And everything. I was saying, okay, no problem. But you see me, At home, when they give me all those food, I will eat it too. I ate amala at first, black plantain amala, but later I adjusted to those food. But then my brain did not still click that if I go against this things that you are telling me, I'm going to be leading myself to an early grave. So that's how one day, I think I was in primary two when I got diagnosed, and then I was now in primary three. Then I was now in primary three. I got promoted into primary three. So that was almost like a year after I was diagnosed with diabetes. And then during that period, my elder sister, one of my elder sister, got married. So there was drink in the house. You know how Nigerian weddings can be. There was enough drink in the house. There was alcohol in the house. And my dad is not a person that takes alcohol. Basically, he doesn't take alcohol. So alcohol can be in his room for years, except if a visitor comes and need alcohol. That is when that alcohol is going to leave that room. And in our house too, nobody really takes alcohol. So basically, so what I will usually do is I will sneak into my dad's room and I will pick drinks like mineral, different drinks. I don't pick one, I don't pick two, I'll pick a lot. And because my dad wasn't the person that really drinks those things, he didn't really like notice, or rather maybe he noticed, but he didn't really say anything. So in my dad's room, I'll carry mineral drinks a lot. So there was a day I carried drink to my class. And then there was this teacher. I had a teacher which was in primary three. She was my teacher. She was my form teacher. And then she had an assistant. I think, I don't know if she was an NYSC or a COP member that was assisting her to teach in class. And it happened to be that that same teacher, my form teacher, was staying in the same building that I was staying, because it was basically like an estate, an NPC housing complex in Warri. So she was staying in one of the boys' quarters, and I was staying in one of the flats upstairs. So she knew, everybody knew my dad, because my dad was still working in NPC, though it was working in the clinic. And I was going to an NPC school, we're staying in complex. So everybody, almost every worker knew my dad. So basically, back to my story. I went to school that day. I carried about 2 months, I think. I carried 2 months. So after my form teacher stepped out, and then the assistant teacher was there. So she told us that okay, there's really nothing to do. That all of us should lie our head and sleep. We should just lie our heads on the decks and sleep. If you're in Nigeria and you are familiar with it. Lie our heads on the deck, sleep, and that's how all of us were lying on the decks. We were using style to talk to each other. You know, now you and your friends sitting down together, you still be gisting, trying to gist and talk. That's how we're gisting. Then I brought one malt out of my bag. I brought the malt out of my bag. I said, okay, let my teacher not hear it, since everywhere was a bit quiet. I was opening the malt. You know that can malt. I was opening it small, so it to not make sound. This thing still had the effrontery to embarrass me in class. Like the thing made sound like a very big sound. Loud, I mean a very loud sound. And so my teacher was just like, who is drinking mineral? Like, who opened mineral in this class? And the people around me pointed at me, like they said, it's Spirit, Jesus. My teacher now called me. My teacher called me and he was like, you know what? Go back to your seat. Then later my form teacher came. All of a sudden, my form teacher called me. Not knowing that my form teacher knew about my condition. Like, I did not know she knew I was diabetic. That's how far the news had spread. It was just my form teacher in primary two that knew. I did not know that the news had spread. So she called me and she was like, Perry, are you supposed to be taking me? Are you supposed to be drinking all these things and all that? And I told her that, not really. Only when my sugar level is low. And she said, okay, no problem. Me thinking that it was going to end there. This woman, I went home, and usually when my dad comes back from work in the evening, I'll run to him and be like, daddy, all this kind of stuff. Daddy, what did you get for me? What did you buy for me? And everything. But guys, I was so scared that day. Like, I basically stood at the corridor looking through to make sure my dad comes, and like my form teacher, because she was staying in the same building, like she was not going to meet my dad. So I stood there, only for me to hear my dad's car. Now I said, let me run downstairs to go and greet my dad. I saw my form teacher and my daddy talking. Jesus Christ. I was like, this woman has spoken inside trouble. I went to carry my dad's bag. My dad did not say anything. Carried it to the room. I was so scared to ask him, Daddy, what did he buy for me? I entered into the room, and that's how later my dad called. My dad was about to leave the house, and he called me and he said, Perry, who gave you malt? And I was like, Daddy, I was shaking. Like, who gave you money to buy malt? I was shaking. I can't remember exactly what came out from my mouth, but the next thing I knew, my dad brought out belt. Like, my dad had never beaten me before. Brought out belt and wanted to beat me. But then, luckily, my elder sister saved me. If not, that day, my eye would have been shaky. And he told me, there was a word he told me, I'm not going to say it out loud, but then he basically warned me that, like, I'll be leading myself to an early grave if I don't listen. Like, guys, see, I wish that was the only story, but me that have coconut head. After that day, I cried, 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 cried. Nobody consoled me. But then after that day, self, I still repeated. Man, I was stubborn when I was small. Like, you could not tell me that I will not drink sweet thing. Like, I don't understand. As a child, I'll go to a party and I'll see my mate drinking Capri Sun. Then it was actually very, very sad. But now I just look at it and I was like, "Hey, what the heck? What were you doing? Like, you were so crazy." Um, that's one of my crazy stories as a kid growing up with type 1 diabetes. So like, guys, this is the end. So please, if you enjoy it and you want me to tell you more about my story, crazy stories of things I did as a type 1 diabetes when I was a child, then please make sure to put it on the comment section below and I'll ensure to actually answer to that. See in my next video. See you guys. I love you guys so much. Give this video a thumbs up and I'll see you guys in my next video. I love you. Bye.